we have probably the most important video of the day. Who is a better fighter, Vegeta or Goku? Now, I'm going to get me another beer, then we're going to come back to this. I realized as I walked away, I said beer. It's a sour. It's a whiskey sour. Where is it at? It's a sour, baby. Blueberry vanilla ice cream. All right, let's get into it. I'm here for the fact checking.
Goku and Vegeta's entire
Hopefully
DBZ
he
fight
cooks.
careers to finally answer the question, who had the better resume and by how much?
Hell
Now, you
yeah.
might be thinking, oh, you can just look up their win-loss records. But nah, those lists are trash. Some fights are missing and others
They're really bad. I was going to do a video on this, but you guys never saw it. I threw it out because I was like, what the absolute fuck?
make no sense. You're telling me Goku and Vegeta's 1v1 isn't on there, but all three of Frieza's transformations are going to be counted as separate losses for Vegeta? They even gave him a loss to Trunks for getting hit with the Ki Blast? Really? And for Goku,
Exactly.
they counted his sacrifice as a second loss
Fraud
to Cell.
list.
Bro, these aren't even fights. Anyways, I'm not just going to be rebuilding the records. I'm going to be ranking every fight based on who they fought and how they performed. Because
True.
a win against Frieza should not carry the same weight as wins against Pterodactyl, police officers, and Mustache Strongman.
Who the f is that guy?
Speaking of those two,
Hey, the way I see it, a fight is a fight, man. A fight is a fight. So, because honestly, like, if we talking like Goku and Dragon Ball, compared to like, well, Goku in all of Dragon Ball and Vegeta in all of Dragon Ball, obviously Goku wins regardless because he just has plenty of more fights. So it's just no way that Vegeta would even ever catch up unless you took Goku out of the series and Vegeta was the only one for the same amount of time of which Goku was the only one, right?
tomato cans, I'm not counting Goku's OG Dragon Ball run.
Right.
It wouldn't be fair since we never saw Vegeta's pre-DBZ
Exactly.
record, even though we know he was out there saucing up entire species. So we're just going to call out their amateur records, and DBZ is when they turn pro. Alright,
True.
here's how it's going to work. We're going to be ranking each fight using 3 criteria: the opponent level, the performance, and the context.
Okay, context, performance, and opponent level. Gotcha.
Adjuster. Opponent level is scored out of 10 and the scale resets
Okay.
after each saga. I'm not ranking across the whole show because that would make every fight outside of the Buu saga feel worthless. For example,
True.
you'd never rate Goku's win against Frieza lower than his win against Yakon. That's goofy as hell, even though Yakon's technically stronger. That's not how we see these fights, and that's not how the Z fighters saw them either. I do think there should be some inflation from saga to saga, so we'll bump it up by half a point each time. So the max score is 10 for the Saiyan saga, 10.5 for Namek, 11 for the Android saga, and 11.5 for the Buu saga. I feel like that keeps the integrity of the older fights while still respecting the power creep. Fair enough? Alright, performance is simple. How well they did, how good they looked. Max score is always going to be 10. And finally, the context adjuster. This one's important because fights in DBZ aren't always clean. If Goku scores an 8 for performance, but it turns out it was a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, I have to raise or drop that score to reflect it. Or let's say he was fighting someone who's a 10, but they were sandbagging or limited in the fight. I might lower the opponent level to a 7. After adjustments, I'll average the 2 main numbers for an overall fight score. Simple. Alright, I'm gonna
Gotcha. So we're doing this like the judges style. All right. I'll lock in.
throw on the Red Scouter, so let's get into it, starting with
Hell
Goku's
yeah,
fights
brother.
from the Saiyan saga. First up is Goku versus Raditz, and I'm not talking about the fight where he fought alongside Piccolo. I'm talking when Raditz first pulled up
The
to the planet.
1v1s.
For level, I'm going to give Raditz a 5.5. He's pretty middle of the road for the Saiyan saga. Even after the year-long training, he was still relatively in the same league as a lot of the Z fighters. So I feel like 5.5 is good.
I mean, I guess that depends on what you call relative. Yes, yes and no. The only two like relevant Z fighters at this point are Goku and Piccolo. Because the other ones, they weren't even near like at the sauce that Goku and Piccolo were. So it's a yes and no. I think 5.5 is a little bit harsh. I think I would have given it a 7.5 for the time, for sure. For the time, for sure, because there's only two people that are actively like standing a chance here, and that is literally Goku Piccolo.
But I'm going to adjust Raditz's level and give him an extra point, bumping him up to an overall of 6.5.
Okay. I still think 7.5. I still think 7.5.
And I'm doing this because this is before the Z Fighters got a chance to train a year for the Saiyans.
Right.
He blindsided them, they were unprepared, and the audience perception of Raditz was that he was this 10 out of 10 fighter because before he showed up, Goku and Piccolo were the best we've ever seen by far. I feel like this was a special.
Nah, you can't give him over a 7.5. You can't. Nah, I'm seeing 8s. You can't give 8s, brother. You can't give 8s. 8's just, that's not the thing. Here's the deal. You can't do an 8 because he had glaring weaknesses, right? For instance, them grabbing the tail, completely discombobulating him. Like, what the fuck? What stupid ass weakness is that? And it's like that's even acknowledged by Goku or not Goku, but by Vegeta and Nappa later on when they tried to do the same thing to fucking Nappa.
Special case, and his level should kind of reflect that. As for performance, worst performance maybe of Goku's entire career. Goku got one-shotted. Yeah, if he didn't have the weights on, maybe he doesn't get one-shotted like this, but it is what it is. This is Goku's worst performance. I'm giving him a 1. So that would make his overall score a 3.75. And I didn't say this in the intro, but for loss,
yeah, I can agree.
I'm going to be reducing the score by a third, or 33%. So his overall score is actually going to be 2.51. I was going to reduce the score in half for a loss, but part of the lower score is already reflected in the point value the fighter gets in the performance field, so I feel like that was kind of overkill. A third seems just about right, and if the fight is a draw, I'm going to reduce it only by 15% because I don't want to penalize you too much for a draw. Alright, next fight is again versus Raditz. This time it was Goku with the help of Piccolo and Gohan. Raditz is established as a 5.5 for level. Same logic as before, I'm going to bump him up by 1 point with the context adjuster to give him 6.5. As for performance, Goku definitely did a lot better here. He showed a new wrinkle to his game by curving the Kamehameha, his curve.
What?
Had Raditz sweating a little bit. Still got cooked in the hands department though, and he let go of Raditz's tail, which dings him a point, but he was pivotal in beating him, so I'm going to give him a 5.5 for performance. But we're going to use the context adjuster and drop that performance score by 2 points, bringing it down to 3.5 because, I mean, he got a lot of help in this fight. If it wasn't for Piccolo and Gohan, he's deep fried. He's barbecue, bro.
Oh,
he's finished.
100%.
Goku's overall score is going to be an 8 for this fight. But remember, this wasn't a win for Goku. This was actually a draw. You could say it's a win for Piccolo, but Goku had to die in order for Raditz to die. So for him, it's a draw. We're going to take 15% away of the average score if it's a draw. So Goku's left with a total score of 4.25 for his second fight in the Saiyan Saga. Okay, so his next fight is after the King Kai training when he pulls up in the battlefield and fights Nappa. Listen, Nappa was super elite for the saga. Like, he was just coming off beating basically all of the Z fighters in brutal fashion. Only had a couple of little hiccups along the way. I'm gonna give him an 8 for level. He was him, bro. He was him in the saga. And as for Goku's performance, he went from one of his worst performances of all time at the start of the arc to one of his very best with Nappa, and against much higher level competition. Dude, it was a humiliation ritual. I'm gonna give him a 9.5 for this performance. I think it was almost perfect, but
oh, he beat the shit out of Nappa. Oh my god.
But Nappa did start giving him some good resistance. Still though, amazing. One of the best performances, not just from Goku in the entire show in general. The pull-up against Nappa was phenomenal.
True.
All
He
right, now
flexed on
moving
him.
to the flagship fight of the saga.
So far, I'm pretty much agreed with this. I'm not really gonna fight it too much as long as it's not something like I think is fairly disagreeable.
This was the main fight of the saga. It was against Vegeta. And bro, no
True, 10,
question, no ifs,
10.
ands, or buts. Vegeta gets a 10 for
Fuck
level.
yeah,
I've had so many
brother.
people in the comments. I don't get how they're hating on him so much. Bro, you can't deny he was the one in the Saiyan saga.
Bro was the one. If he would have taken Nappa's place, he would have one-shot everyone. No problem, no ifs, ands, buts about it, bro. And he would have talked so much goddamn shit. He would have been unbearable. Unbearable. His character wouldn't have been likable at all. In this one, he found some humility into the fact that Goku was actually giving him a strong challenge, and that's insane.
10 out of 10. Goku,
Insane.
his performance here, definitely not as good as the Nappa one. It was mixed, okay? He had some very
True.
high highs, and he had some very low lows. The Kaioken ×3 beatdown was legendary work, and winning the beam struggle too. But he was only able to do that by completely overclocking and wrecking his body. And then he got absolutely annihilated by Grade 8 Vegeta. Didn't give up though, and really just did, I mean, almost as good as you possibly can do despite, you know, the overwhelming obstacle he had in front of him. I'm going to give him a 7.5 for performance. This was a very solid performance from Goku, despite taking the loss. So
True.
the average score is going to be 8.75. Since he did lose this fight, it's going to drop him down to a 5.25. And then we go to Goku's final fight in the saga. It was again against Vegeta, but this time it was with the help of Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe.
The squad.
As we established, Vegeta is a 10 out of 10 for level, but I am going to use the context adjuster and drop his level by 1 point because he was fighting a battle-worn Vegeta, which would bring him
True.
down to a 9, which I think is solid because this version of Vegeta still would have clapped Nappa, so 9 out of 10 seems solid. For performance, it's funny for performance. Goku was crippled and he didn't throw a punch, but he still played such a big role in beating Vegeta. He was the coach, he was the hype man, and yeah, he wasn't the one to throw the spirit bomb at Vegeta, which was a huge contributor to his loss, but it was still his energy that he generated earlier. So I'm gonna give him a 4 for his performance, and I feel like that's fair given the fact that he didn't throw a single punch. I don't think you can give him too much more than that. And I am going to drop this score by 2.5 points to adjust for the immense amount of help that he had in this fight. I mean, it wasn't the fact that Vegeta just had to fight 3 other people. It was the fact that one of them was his tail regenerated in the middle of the fight. There was leftover spirit bomb from the last fight. And he had to deal with somebody who he didn't even know Yajirobe was part of the fight. And bro pulled up on it. And bro pulled up on him twice. Dude, the second time Vegeta was heated, bro. Remember Yajirobe was like leaning back, kind of pointing at him, and he just looked just obese, just just pointing the finger in his face, laughing. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. Goku's total score for this fight is a 5.25. So he has 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw in the Saiyan Saga. Alright, let's take a look at Vegeta's record in the Saiyan Saga. First opponent for him, again, is going to be Goku. And listen, just like I gave Vegeta a 10 out of 10, I'm going to give Goku a 10 for his level. Even though Vegeta was better, I definitely still put Goku in that same league.
I don't know if you could do that. You could say he's relative. I would give Goku, I could see an argument for 8, but I would give Goku a 9 here. I would give Goku a 9. He's definitely relative to Vegeta in this arc, but he is not enough by himself. Obviously, we saw this with the Great Ape transformation that it made Goku obsolete. I mean, absolutely just not even relevant. Just beat the shit out of him. Treated him like a little fucking squeaky toy.
Yeah, his base power wasn't up to par, but he had
Shout out
such a
to Team
deep bag
4-Star.
of weapons with the Kaioken, the Spirit Bomb, that he could use to more than level the playing field. He's in the same league.
He did
gets
have a
10.
deep bag,
As far
for
as
sure.
performance, same thing as the Goku fight. Vegeta had very high highs and very low lows. He was toying with them
True.
before the Kaioken, then got dog walked, lost the beam struggle, but then crushed him with the Ozaru, which he might not have even needed, to be fair, because Goku was deep fried after pushing his body to Kaioken × 4. I'm going to give him the same score as Goku. I'm going to give him a 7.5, which this is going to bring his overall score to an 8.75, and he won the fight, so he gets to keep the full score. Very strong start
True.
here for Vegeta. His next fight, again, it was against Goku, but this time it was also against Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe. So it was 1 versus 4. For level, the best fighter in their team is a 6, but I'm gonna use the context adjuster and increase the level by 3 points, bring it up to 9, because Vegeta is dealing with, like I said before, Vegeta was dealing with so many different opponents, unknown elements, sneak attack, everything I said from Goku's perspective just a minute ago. As far as his performance, I'm gonna give him a 6, because as impressive as his durability and tenacity was, he just made a lot of mistakes from
He did. That's true. That's true. Hey, I'm fair. Listen, I'm a Vegeta stan, brother. But fair is fair. And to be fair, Vegeta did a lot of fucking up. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't gonna front. Like, he should have been one-shot fucking Gohan, dumbass. He should have gotten rid of fucking Yajirobe then and there. Like, the minute he cut that fucking tail off and he shrunk back down and he hit him, instead of punching him ground and pound style, he should have just fucking charged up a ki blast and finished him. Done. Be gone. But he didn't. God damn it, bro.
Underestimating his opponents and just letting his anger get the better of him.
This was supposed to be ruthless Vegeta, by the way. I think it is funny that the Vegeta that is contextually looked on as the ruthless version, the absolute warrior, from the moment he landed on Earth, didn't kill a single person until... Well, let me think about this. Didn't kill a single person until the Majin Buu saga. Not like intentionally, right? Because I think, like, maybe in the Android saga, I think there's a couple moments where he's fighting Android 18, where there's like people who got caught up in the fucking fight, right? But he wasn't like intentionally trying to kill those people, if that makes sense. But in the Jesus Christ, in the Majin saga, he definitely intentionally killed people on Earth. And it's like, that's the most ruthless he ever was, really. Aside from, like, you know, the massive amount of genocides in his amateur career, but we're not going to talk about that.
I feel like if he just really put the pride to the side and accepted that, like, yeah, he's facing adversity from these, you know, people that are beneath him. If he just kind of accepted that, he would have done a lot better, and he might have even won the fight. So overall, his score is a 7.5, but of course he lost the fight, so the total score is going to be 5.03. And his record for the Saiyan saga is 1 win and 1 loss. Alright, now we're going into the Namek saga, and we're going to swing back around to Goku. Actually, you know what? Let's stay with Vegeta here, because he had like 4 or 5 fights before Goku even pulled up to the planet. Alright, so Vegeta's first opponent on Namek was
Oh, yes. Oh, give me the sauce, brother.
And look, man, I give him a 4.5 for level. It's crazy how he's as strong as Vegeta was in base last arc, but now he's middle of the road at best for this arc. Honestly, if we're just talking strictly power and ranking in the Frieza Force,
it was a perfect way to set up the new level that we were going to be at going into this arc. Fucking W writing by Toriyama here.
I feel like he is a little underrated because the only people above him are the Ginyu Force and Zarbon and the Doria. Everybody else in Frieza's army he clears, but he's such a coward, bro. He's a track star. I'm going to give him a 4.5.
He's a runner. He's a track star.
Vegeta's performance was basically perfect, but I'm gonna give him a 9.5 just because he almost fell for the oldest trick in the book. He's like, brother. Look, Frieza's here, and dude actually turned around. I'm gonna give him a 9.5 just for that. Bring in Vegeta.
Hey, fair, fucking fair. What the hell?
His overall score for this fight?
Well, I don't know. Is it? To be fair, nah. I'll give him the 9.5 because, like, yeah, it's stupid, right? But he's also, like, the guy that arc. So, you know.
A 7. Next up is Dodoria. Same logic as Kui. I was going to give Dodoria a 5.5, but I ended up giving him a 5 for level.
Oh, brother got wacky slashed.
Just because it's the same thing. He's just another coward track star. For performance, this was insane because technically he should be able to give at least a decent fight to Vegeta because their power levels were actually so close to even, but he's such a coward. He wouldn't even consider fighting a guy slightly stronger than him. He had to know Vegeta was levels above him in skill. This is a perfect performance from Vegeta. It was a 10 out of 10, but maybe this is going to be the most controversial use of the context adjuster is I'm going to drop his performance score by half a point just because, and I know this isn't fair to Vegeta, but Dodoria barely trying and just running away right off rip, it does make this 10 a little less impressive that his opponent didn't even come close to going out on his shield. I don't know, I can already tell this one's going to be a controversial call. Bro, I can hear you typing. Stop it. Guys, this ain't.
I don't know if it's that controversial, but I also don't think that Dodoria was at the level that people want to push him to. I think he's in a sort of like Hui situation where he was a bit overhyped, a bit like over pushed. Whereas like the true star of that arc when it came to the henchmen was the Ginyu Force and Zarbon. Because Zarbon had the transformation, right? I think if Dodoria was supposed to be more relevant, he would have had a transformation to go to. Because that was kind of like the hint of the arc, right? Like this is what this arc is going to be about. Like you should never take anyone's power as what you perceive it to be in the moment, right? Because there's always something more that they can do. And Zarbon was the like poster child of that. He was like the, hey, guess what? You don't kill me, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
That his opponent didn't even come close to going out on his shield. I don't know, I can already tell this one's going to be a controversial call. Bro, I can hear you typing. Stop it. Guys, this ain't easy. You try to make the perfect rankings. I guarantee you won't. It's a lot of tough calls. But still, Vegeta.
Yeah, I still think I would have adjusted this back to 10. I think that would have been okay. So as far as the 5 goes, I agree.
Vegeta's going to get an overall score of 7.25 for a second win in the saga. Next up, we got Vegeta versus Zarbon. And Zarbon, I actually think he's super underrated. Dude was a dog, and he was a solid fighter too. Check out that breakdown video I did. You'll see he was actually pretty legit.
Should we bring that back? Let me know in the comments. Should we bring back the Let Them Fight series? I dropped that just because it's like I wasn't really like sure like how to get into it. Like I wasn't sure how to get into like the type of character that I wanted to be for that type of series. But let me know. Let me know. I will absolutely full commit. I'll get a fucking outfit and everything, like a fucking referee, you know?
I'm gonna give him a 6 for score. As for performance, man, Vegeta was having his way with him before he transformed, and even got a couple of good shots in against Monster Zarbon, but he couldn't handle the power and the overwhelming pressure.
This is what I'm saying.
Still pretty impressive.
This is what I'm saying. Like, this is meant to be like Frieza's guy. Like Dodoria, like he was like an upper echelon, but he was not the guy. Like he was not, you know, somebody who Frieza would have been like telling him like the important shit to do, right? He was like that guy you could aim at somebody and then just have him do his thing. Whereas like Zarbon, you could give him the important shit and he would get that taken care of effectively, right? So that's why I think like Dodoria is so overrated as far as like what people perceive him to be.
Display of his grit, so I'm gonna give him a 4.5 for this performance, and it's gonna bring his average score to 5.25.
I'd have given him. I think I would have given him a 5 here. Not that it would even have changed his score that much, but I think I would have given him a 5 here.
Of course, he lost this fight, so his total score sits at 3.52 for the Zarbon fight. Next up is the Zarbon rematch. Again, Zarbon's a 6. And this time though, Vegeta showed that when you put them on the same playing field, he's the much more talented fighter. He destroyed Zarbon in this fight. Definitely not a perfect performance, and some of the dominance was the result of the pocket sand that he threw at him, but it makes sense. He had to get rid of Zarbon quick so that Krillin and Bulma wouldn't escape, and he was willing to fight dirty to do so. He was winning this fight 10 out of 10 times regardless. I'm going to give him an 8 for performance for this one. Very solid. And that brings his overall score to a 7. Next up is Vegeta's fight against Raccoon. Listen.
Oh, this is going to be rough. Oh, this is when the streak of Vegeta L's begins. Oh, no. Bro is about to go full WWE on this man's ass, brother. Fuck.
I'm gonna give
Not the clear of the throat. Fuck.
Raccoon a 6.5 for level. He was definitely a cut above Zarbon. I could see if you want to give him a 7, but I think I'm comfortable with the 6.5. For his performance, Vegeta was an absolute dog in this fight. He showed his toughness, creativity, tenacity, but Raccoon was just simply too much for him. I give him a 5.5. That brings his average to a 6, and he lost this one, so it's gonna bring him down to a 4.02. Next fight was against Jace, who
fair.
Same as Raccoon. I want to say Raccoon, Jace, and Birder were all 6.5s. Which one was strongest between them?
I'm curious how he's going to factor in the fact that he literally murdered all of them. You know, fuck, man. Hey, bro took a lot of L's, but he got the dub in the end. You know what I'm saying? Fuck.
I don't know, but they're all in the same tier. But this was one of the weirder performances in the show. Jace looked like he could somewhat compete with Vegeta, who's supposed to be stronger than the Goku who humiliated
To be fair, yeah, he's like a little bit of a glass cannon, isn't he?
Birder and Jace combined. He actually got caught with a pretty good shot in this fight too. But then he just destroys him in one of my favorite finishes of the show. Vegeta, no!
I like the Team 4-star one better. Clever girl.
With his Australian accent, bro. Nah, I'm giving Vegeta an 8 for performance. It was solid. So Vegeta's overall score for this fight is a 7.25. Alright, now we got the fight against Captain Ginyu. But this was not a solo fight. This was Vegeta, Goku, Gohan, and Krillin versus Captain Ginyu. Even though Gohan and Krillin didn't really contribute to, once Vegeta pulled up, they were out of the equation. I'm giving Ginyu an 8 for his level, but I'm using the context adjuster to drop his score by 2 points, adjusting him to a 6. Just because this wasn't like vintage Ginyu. This was Ginyu in Goku's body where he was unable to max out his power. Vegeta's gonna get a 9 for performance because he just completely took over what was supposed to be a group fight and annihilated Ginyu. But I will be docking him 2 points for his performance though, because without Goku's help throwing the frog, he would have gotten his body stolen. Wait, didn't Goku, hold up, didn't Goku save him twice? Because he switched bodies with them once to get his body back, and the second time he threw the frog, right? Should I drop him more? Nah, let's just do the 2 points. It is what it is. That brings his performance to a 7 and his overall score.
I think it's fair to bring it down to a 6. I think it's fair to punish the overzealous nature of Vegeta in this arc.
For this fight, since he won it, is going to be a 6.5. Alright, next up is the Frieza fight. And I didn't split this up into like 37.5 different fights like the Dragon Ball Guru website did, but I'm gonna split the Frieza fight up into 2 battles. So this is the first one is the group battle where it was Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin versus Frieza in his first and second form. That I count as one group battle before Piccolo pulled up and it turned into a 1v1, right? And then he didn't really even fight Frieza in his third form.
I
agree.
Then
he did fight him in the final form, obviously 1v1. But this one is just like I said, first and second form. Frieza gets a 10.5 for level, max score for the saga, obviously. But I am going to drop him 1.
Yeah, you have to, because he is the guy.
1.5 points, because obviously this is a much weaker version of Frieza than...
Okay, so here, I was wondering if he was going to do this. If this is me, because Frieza had literally first form, right, which was base Frieza. Second form, which is like the tall version of Frieza. Third form, which is like the weird like alien versus predator version of Frieza. And the fourth form, which ended up being the final form for a time, which was the small, more lizardy, more clean version of Frieza. I think it's too harsh to dock him a point for each, but I do think because there is so much power scaling going on here, as far as like being so far beyond anyone's comprehension. Oh fuck, I forgot about full power fucking Frieza. Oh, you have to dock him more. You have to dock him more. I think you got to give Frieza base Frieza in the group fight before Piccolo shows up. Give him, I would give him a 7.5. I would give him a 7.5 because if he was in this form in its entirety, then Piccolo would have dog walked his ass. But considering the context that Piccolo doesn't show up until it's literally pretty much an even fight, then that changes things, right? But I do think you do need to dock him because it's like trolling, pretty much. It's like, bro, you could have just went final form, murdered everyone, and then Goku would have showed up, went Super Saiyan all the same, because all his friends are dead, you know? All my friends are dead.
Him at his best, right? For performance, this was kind of rough for Vegeta. By the way,
Oh, he
sorry
got
if I
fucked.
sound different. I think I got some Goku
Deadass.
yard rat AIDS or something like that. My voice is kind of...
What the heck? Goku, yard rat AIDS? Hey, you keep that over there, man. We don't need that AIDS 19 over here in fucking air, brother. Hell no.
I don't know. This one was tough. He did have a very impressive showing against Frieza's first form, but he crumbled when he transformed. Barely even tried to fight, aside from a ki blast to the back that did nothing.
Oh, Vegeta was petrified. This arc.
This is actually, honestly, to me, this is actually the worst Vegeta's ever looked, man. He really went out sorry against Frieza here. You had guys much weaker than him like Krillin and Dende who made a lot more of an impact against second form.
I don't know about that. As the Dragon Ball veteran, I hate to inform you that it only gets worse from here. No, not really, but there has been some very low lows as a Vegeta fan. I will tell you that much. Oof. Because like Goku has had some lows, but his lows are just like, you can write it off because he's like the MC. So you know he's going to make it through it anyway. But Vegeta as a important but still side character, it's like, ooh, this might be the end of his existence.
Frieza than he did. He was just so gun shy. I think the lifelong fear of Frieza, just his aura, he must have had PTSD or something. I'll give him
Well, I mean, I would. Bro's been my master for fucking life. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? We all saw the Broly movie. We saw how that turned out. Like, bro. Buddy was the black people of Dragon Ball. That joke's gonna get me canceled, but, you know, anyway. It's true though, man. Fucking the Saiyans, whatever Saiyans were left, were slaves to Frieza in the end. And it's actually insane, now that I think about it, that he is literally like, what if Hitler won? Like, that's Frieza, brother. But like, he's also like not 100% like a bad guy. So you can't really call him Hitler at the same time. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. He falls into like this weird spectrum of like, yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit, but like occasionally he comes through. Like, we saw the Tournament of Power. You can't deny it now.
a 4 overall for his performance. I feel like I'm losing my voice, bro. Just feel like I have a frog in my throat. No Ginyu. But I'm going to be dropping him down a 1.5 because of all the help he got, bringing him down to a 2.5 for performance. His average score is 5.75, and he lost the fight, so that brings him down to a 3.85.
Yeah, he got fucked
That's
up.
tough. My bad, guys. I accidentally skipped this one on my original voice recording.
Oh. I think we can skip this. I think we can. It's like a 1. It's like a 1 for me, brother. Like in the scouter, in the scouter 1. Like, it's done. It's cooked. It's cooked. Fuck.
Vegeta's fight against Final Form Frieza, I gave him a 10.5 for level, obviously, but I dropped him by half a point for sandbagging like crazy. Performance-wise, this
Also,
was Vegeta's worst loss ever, I think. I'm going to give him a 2.5 though, only because he saved Gohan from the Death Beam, and he made Frieza really have to lock in to bounce his final Ki Blast back. If you had it lowered though, I get it. Vegeta's record in
I did. I fucking put that shit so low. I put it at a 1, bro. Absolutely embarrassed.
the Namek Saga is 5 wins and 4 losses. Alright, let's move over to Goku's record on Namek. Goku starts Namek off strong with the fight against
Oh, he fucking dog walks Raccoon ass, bro. Bring back that Nappa ass whooping on Raccoon's Candias, brother.
Raccoon. Like we established, he's a 6.5. And
That shit was
listen,
wild, bro.
flawless performance from Goku. He easily gets a 10 for this. Just one-shotted him and didn't get touched once. This was actually a lot like the Nappa fight, except his performance was better,
Hey, what'd I just say?
but the opponent was worse. Again, relatively worse. Obviously, Raccoon is better than Nappa, but I'm just saying relative to their
True.
saga, which is
Full
how I'm scoring
WWE
the opponent
on
level,
that
which I already
ass.
mentioned that. So Goku's gonna get an overall score of 8.25 for this win. His next opponent is the combo of Birder and Jace. And for level, they're getting a 6.5, but since there's two of them, I'm gonna bump them up by half a point, so they get a 7. Another absolutely flawless performance for Goku here, even better than the last one. He gets a 10. Namek Goku was different, especially when he first pulled up. They had so many opportunities to land on him and they just couldn't even touch him. This is one of the most humiliating losses in the show.
Whoop that ass again.
Oh, Goku's overall score for this fight is an 8.5. Next up is Goku's fight with Captain Ginyu. Ginyu being the second most powerful villain in the arc, he's an 8 out of 10. Solid power and very dangerous ability too.
True.
For performance, man, he underperformed for this one and it was all his fault. Super avoidable. He pretty much went 50-50 with Ginyu before using the Kaioken, but his performance drops a lot because of his poor judgment. His overconfidence and inability to pull the trigger really ruined him in this one. He could have had another Hall of Fame performance like he did his last two fights, but he just screwed it up. DBC characters and fumbling the bag, name a more iconic duo. I'm going to give Goku a 6.5 for this one, bringing his average to a 7.25. Of course, he lost this fight, so brings him down to a 4.86 overall. Okay, the next fight is again against Ginyu, this time with the help of Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, but really just Vegeta. Ginyu's level is an 8, but he's getting dropped 2 points because it was a much weaker version of Ginyu in Goku's body, so his overall is a 6. For performance, I'm actually giving Goku an 8 for performance. He didn't really throw a punch, but this was so impressive for me because despite being in such dire conditions, he was so clutch in this one. Got his body back and saved Vegeta from the body change. The literal opposite of the bag fumbling from the last fight. But I'm dropping that 8 down by 2 points, down to a 6, because he obviously had help from Vegeta, who's the muscle. Without him, none of it would have been possible. So he gets a 6 for performance, and that's going to bring Goku's overall score for this win a 6.
That is true. That's kind of crazy to like looking back from like the current day Dragon Ball to the old like Dragon Ball Z, Frieza saga, fucking Saiyan saga. Like there was a time where like Vegeta was pushed to be the one that had the brains, and then in the Namek saga you saw a very emotional Vegeta where he thought irrationally, he thought radically, he was very impulsive, right? And you saw Goku kind of take on that kind of leadership, kind of, well, not stoic, but more of a self-assured role in the series, where he was the one making the decisions for the group type thing. And it's kind of interesting to see the dynamics shift, right? Because eventually Goku goes from his portrayal in the Dragon Ball Z version, where he's kind of portrayed as like this Superman type of fucking hero, right? Where he was always meant to be more of like this more childish, more fight sexual fucking character, right? So Dragon Ball Super, when that came out, it came back around to the point to where Vegeta is the more experienced, more knowledgeable fighter versus Goku's more childish but more like ideological fighter. Like he's more creative and he's going to be able to adapt more in a fight versus like Vegeta, who is a very hard practiced fighter. He threw the same punch 1,000 times, and that same punch is going to land 1,000 times more, right? Whereas like Goku's like, oh, I'm gonna try this, and maybe I can catch you off guard doing this, and then I'm gonna fucking run over here and do this. Like, I think they did the one thing that I because to be fair, I have a track record of absolutely shitting on Dragon Ball Super, and I will stick to that track record. However, there are good things about Dragon Ball Super, as much as I would like to clown on it. One of the good things, I think, is they built Vegeta a character and they built Goku a character where they're no longer switching, but they are staying in two separate lanes, following two different ideology. Not ide. It is kind of an ideology based style of fighting, but Vegeta's is more rooted in practicality, where Goku's is more rooted in imagination, right? Goku's the guy who invents the thing, but Vegeta is the guy that perfects the thing, right? We see this in the series with Super Saiyan Blue, for example, where as Goku got creative and he managed to stack his Kaioken on top of Blue to get it to the level that he needed it to be, whereas Vegeta focused on Blue and he said, okay, how can I make this form practical for me to use? And that's how he discovered Super Saiyan Blue evolved, where it's similar to Ultra Instinct in a way where it holds in everything and releases nothing. And you have to kind of be in a different, not a completely different state of mind, but I would say like a state of focus. Like, cause when I look back on that fight, like you didn't get like earlier Vegeta where he was a bit more like talky. He is a bit more braggadocious, right? This Vegeta was locked in. Like there was a few moments where Topo tried to catch him off guard when he was in his destruction form, where Vegeta instantly responded and got himself out of it, and then locked in immediately. No fucking button words, no bullshit, just fucking did his best to push Topo into a corner to where he knew he had the breathing room again. I think that's interesting to see how these characters evolved over that series. So, as far as like character development, Dragon Ball Super did very good with that. Um, it's tough though. It's tough.
Okay, so Goku's next opponent is Frieza. And yes, I'm splitting this fight up into two separate fights. Base and Super Saiyan Goku versus Frieza.
It took a lot to get him there, for sure.
You
Yeah.
already know. These two felt like separate fights, and they kind of were, because what was supposed to be a 1v1 turned into a gauntlet battle with Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin jumping Frieza and saving Goku countless times. So I had him losing by disqualification and then rematching Frieza as a Super Saiyan. So Goku and Base versus Frieza. Frieza, again, he's the pinnacle as far as level goes in this arc. He gets the 10.5. But I am going to be dropping him down by half a point because Frieza only got up to 50% of his power in this fight, so he was sandbagging, bringing him down to a 10. Goku performed about as well as anybody could have conceivably done against Frieza at this time, barring a miracle. And even though he was getting absolutely destroyed, just the fact that he was holding his own and had some really impressive moments too, despite the giant power gap, I'm going to give Goku a 6 for performance. That brings his average score to an 8, and of course he lost this one, so that drops it down to a 5.36. And his next opponent, again being Frieza, this time he gets the full mark, 10.5, no reductions, because this is Frieza at 100%. For performance,
Right.
look, in my opinion, this is the single best win in DBZ history. Bro, this one is still talked about among the Z fighters in later arcs. Frieza put up a great fight and showed his insane talent, but Goku kept chipping away at him and had elite composure, proved that he was superior. The way he had the most powerful being in the universe physically and mentally broken in the championship rounds was beyond impressive. It wasn't perfect, but I'm giving that performance an 8.5.
It was one of those things where like Frieza never expected Goku to go to distance because he always talked down about the Super Saiyan legend actually being a thing that would be threatening. So to be confronted by it and to be not only pushed to your limits, but pushed beyond your limits, had him fucking frazzled.
And I'm actually going to use the context adjuster
This shit
here
was crazy.
to give an extra point to Goku because of, number one, just the sheer importance of the fight. And the fact that he was cool as a cucumber under insane conditions. Dude, the pressure he must have felt knowing that the planet was going to blow up and that he was the last hope, not just for his planet or his race, but for countless civilizations. Yeah, enough said. +1, he gets an adjusted score of 9.5 for his performance. His overall score for this fight is a 10 out of 10, and he won the fight, so he keeps that full score. Best win in the series, period. Goku's record in the Namek Saga is 4 wins and 2 losses. Alright, we're sticking with Goku and covering his Android Saga battles now. First up is his fight against Android 19, and for level, I'm going to give 19 a 6.5. He was a little bit better than middle of the road, but definitely not an elite opponent. I feel like that's fair, you know.
Yeah, if Goku didn't have that weird heart condition bullshit going on, Goku, I definitely think would have beaten
You know what I
him.
mean? Like Raccoon level. Because
No
last arc
problem.
I gave Raccoon a 6.5. So for the Android Saga, 19 is probably the Raccoon equivalent. Obviously, this is the fight where Goku got the heart virus. But I think he still had a slim chance to win it, even with the heart virus. I mentioned it in my analysis video of the fight, but there was a moment where Jiro was like, oh, if 19 doesn't find an opportunity to absorb some energy soon, he's going to start to malfunction. Yeah, it just wasn't vintage Goku, man. I'm going to give him a 5 for his performance. His decision making wasn't the same. But, of course, I am going to use the context adjuster. Before you get your pitchforks up, I'm going to adjust his performance by 1.5 points because his performance was a lot more impressive in mind given the fact that he had the heart virus. So he gets a 6.5. Average score is a 6.5, but he lost it, so it brings him down to a 4.36. His next fight in the saga, we're jumping all the way to Perfect Cell. This man gets a 10.5 for level. First 10.5 since Frieza at his peak.
That is true. I just realized that Vegeta has a lot of fights. Holy shit. Like, Vegeta is just fucking throwing hands with life.
And I'm giving Goku a 7.5 for his performance in this fight. Beautiful display of skills from both fighters. Goku was at the absolute top of his game, going toe-to-toe with a more powerful, highly skilled, generational great like Cell. Even blew off his top half with the Warp Kamehameha. I will say though, Goku's got a great PR team because he was starting to look bad as he was gassing. And had he not quit, the perception of his performance wouldn't have been as good because you would have seen him getting pummeled. Still though, fantastic work, 7.5, giving him an average score of 9, and since he lost, an overall score of 6.03. Probably the highest score anybody's gonna get for a loss. Next opponent is the Cell Jr. For level, I'm giving them a 9.5. I could see the argument for a level of 10, just
No, I wouldn't.
power-wise, but since they're minion type characters and they don't have Cell's regen, I'm gonna drop them a little bit on points for that. And man, as for the performance, I know Goku was tired from his fight with Cell, but at this point he had time to catch his breath, get back some of the energy he lost, so I was expecting a little bit better performance. I guess that just goes to show how hard he was redlining his body to keep up with Cell in the last match. But he did really bad. That was an abysmal performance. I'm gonna give him a 1.5, but I am gonna give him an extra 1.5 because
He did absolutely get bullied, to be fair.
he wasn't even close
But then again, so did everyone.
to his best, but still I wanted to see a little bit more. He gets a 3 overall for performance. Scores averaged out to 6.25. With the loss, drops down to a 4.19. Final fight for Goku in the saga is against Super Perfect Cell, who's getting a perfect score of 11 for the arc. And this was Goku with the help of Gohan, Vegeta, Piccolo, Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin. It's kind of ridiculous. Honestly, even just adding this fight onto Goku's record is going to be super controversial because he was
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is a bit weird. Like, this is a Gohan record fight, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think it's a Gohan record fight. And then like Goku is just another player in the fight aspect itself. But like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird because they don't even fight here technically. The only time Goku shows up is to teleport him away so he blows himself up. Right?
literally dead. Listen, if you disagree and you feel like this should not be on his record, I totally understand. But I am going to include this as a team battle for him. I don't know, it just seems like it's a special circumstance for me. Even though he physically
Nah, that's cap. That's cap. That's cap.
wasn't in the battle, he was coaching Gohan all the way through and played a key role in helping him beat Cell here. Without Goku, they don't beat Cell. You feel me? If I'm not convincing you, again, I'm not mad at you. But his score for this fight, just because he played such a pivotal role, I'm gonna give him a 5 for performance. And I'm dropping it by 2.5 because he had an unbelievable amount of, you know what, bro, I'm gonna drop it down by 3, bro, because he had an unbelievable amount of help for this fight. And not gonna lie, I might be glazing a little bit here giving him this win, because just the more I think about it, this is just ridiculous. He wins against Super Perfect Cell. The man was dead. I'm telling you, bro, I'm telling you, some of these are tough calls. I feel like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
Nah, I don't really think so. I think you keep it off the record. I really do. This is a Gohan win with a Goku assist, in my opinion. Well, and a Vegeta assist, and a Yamcha assist, and a Tien assist, and a Piccolo assist. Who else got involved? I don't think Trunks wasn't involved. Trunks got murked at this point. So yeah, all of the Z fighters, Krillin.
if you're gonna cook me in the comments, I'm not mad at it. You can cook me in the comments for this one. Goku gets an overall score of 6.5 for this win. Alright, Goku's record in the Android saga is looking a little bit rough. 1 win and 4 losses. And that 1 win is very controversial too. A lot of people say like, oh, this was him taking a step back. Nah, bro, he tried. He just wasn't him in this arc. It just is what it is. Like, he had amazing moments. True. It just wasn't him.
Meant to be Gohan in this arc.
It wasn't his time. Like, 1 and 4. Let's go to Vegeta's record in the Android saga.
Oof, here we go.
First fight was against Android 19, and
Whoop
we already
ass.
established him as a 6.5, but I'm actually going to use the context adjuster to give him another half a point and make him a 7, because he's just coming off a win against Goku, who's the reigning, defending, undisputed champ, and he took energy from him. So this version of 19 not only had the extra aura, but he was physically stronger than the one that Goku fought. Performance-wise, this was one of Vegeta's coldest performances ever, bro. It was basically perfect. Absolutely dismantled 19 and maybe the most humiliating and satisfying defeats of the entire series. The only thing I knock him for is letting his energy get absorbed by the android. It just wasn't a smart move, but it turned out not to matter at all for this fight, so I'm not going to fault him too much for it. He gets a 9.5 for performance. This was actually a hell of a win. Vegeta's overall score for this fight was 8.25. His next opponent was Android 18, and I think
got that ass whooped. I mean, he put up a fight for a little bit. To be fair, they went back and forth for a hot minute, but a Super Saiyan battery does not keep as long as an Android 18 infinite battery.
17 and 18, both of them, I'd put both of them at an 8 for their level for this arc. Vegeta's performance in this one, I think it's a little bit underrated for how brutally he got finished in the end. He definitely had his moments and showed that he was still no slouch power-wise, even compared to what was, at the time, the biggest threat we've ever seen. But he was going to lose this one regardless, mainly because of the stamina issue, but he could have performed better if he fought with a cooler head. I'm going to give him a 4, bringing his average score to a 6.
I think that's a bit aggressive. I think the 4 is a bit aggressive. I give him a 6. I give him a 6 for the way that he went out, because he did get absolutely fucked up in the end. But I would have given him a 6 in overall performance, bringing that total up to 8.
And since he lost, that drops him down to a 4.
Okay, so yeah. So if he was at 8, it would have been like a 6.02.
0.02 for the fight with 18. Next opponent for Vegeta is Semi-Perfect Cell, and I'm going to give him a fighter score of 9. I know he lost aura after the just TM Tri-Beam Spam Festival, but this man was still an absolute threat. The way he just toyed with 16 and 18 like they were nothing was crazy. This was basically a flawless performance by Vegeta. Didn't I just say this 19 was the most humiliating? This is probably the most humiliating defeat a villain ever took in the show. Vegeta outclassed him in power, speed, skill, timing, everything, bro. And right in front of the fighter he just lost to in his last fight, who's been running scared of Vegeta's opponent. This was definitely his peak in the saga and one of the coldest moments in the show. 10 out of 10. This was an amazing win for Vegeta. He gets an overall score of 9.5 for this win. Right after this fight is the fight with Perfect Cell. Again, Perfect Cell gets a 10.
Oh, that whoop ass, bro. Fuck. Vegeta takes so many L's in Z, bro.
10.5 for level. And man, he got absolutely... This performance started off like the Frieza one. Cat and mouse game by Cell, just humiliating Vegeta. and probably as get back for how bad he just got done in his last form. But I'm gonna give Vegeta a 4.5 for his performance, terrible as it was, just because of how cold the final flash was.
True. If Cell didn't have the ability to regenerate, and this seems to be the going theme for villains against Vegeta, is he has this vendetta against people who can regenerate now because of fucking Majin Buu and goddamn Cell. Because if the final flash landed like it did and Cell didn't have regeneration, Cell would be dead. If the final explosion landed like it did and Majin Buu couldn't regenerate, then he would have been dead. Both moves very effective for what they were supposed to do, but unfortunately, sometimes hacks are the easiest and best way to win, and it's so fucking shit.
Legendary stuff, and blew off a chunk of Cell's torso. I don't care what Cell says, he did not think he was going to do that kind of damage. And I might be being generous, but 4.5. I'm gonna get glazed comments. Oh, you're glazing Vegeta. Like, I haven't glazed Goku like 70 times already in this video, bro. I swear, dude, I don't understand the Vegeta haters. Obviously, I don't understand the Goku haters either. But there's something about Vegeta to where, like, you just start to get gremlins in the comment that just don't want to see you give him any credit where credit's due. It's weird, bro. It's really, really weird. It's goofy as hell. His average points for this fight is a 7.5, but he lost, so it goes down to a 5.03. Next opponent is the Cell Jr., who again we established is a 9.5 for level. I maybe should have looked at this fight a little bit closer before doing this list, but I know that Vegeta held his own the best out of all the Z fighters. Except for in the anime only, Piccolo was putting in work. Still, I think Vegeta and Trunks were the only two still standing, and he was going 50-50 with the Junior. I'll give him a 6.
True.
That's where I think he's at. 7.75 average, which is going to go down because he lost this one. It's going to go down to a 5.19. And here we go. Next opponent is Super Perfect Cell. Super Perfect Cell is going to get the perfect score of 11. And Vegeta's performance was just terrible, bro. He got deep fried, barbecued, sauteed, filleted, minced, baked, air fried, grilled. I don't know, everything by Cell. Credits due to him though, he made Cell in his prime brace for impact. That was a nasty ki blast by Vegeta, you guys remember? Even Gohan was like, dang.
I hope he brings this up, but there is that final ki blast too that gave Gohan the upper hand, like the opening for the upper hand. Just saying.
Once again, the ki attack is going to save Vegeta's performance score from completely tanking here. I'm going to give him a 3, bringing his score to a 7.
See, this is where the mistake gets put in, right? Because you can write that moment off as a separate fight, but if you do that, then you're just ignoring the fact that the villain is Super Perfect Cell. In the context of Super Perfect Cell, you have Vegeta getting absolutely fucked up for a minute, and then Vegeta doing a rush attack, scaring the fucking shit out of Cell. Cell responds, knocks him out again, and then Gohan and Super Perfect Cell get into this beam struggle. Goku gives him the coaching thing. Gohan is looking for that extra opening, right? And then Vegeta flies up in the air, Super Saiyan again, blasts him one more time, and then Cell has to divert his attention away from Gohan, and then immediately gives Goku and Gohan the opening. So there is an argument to be made that Vegeta was also up at the same level as Goku as far as the most important, like, pivotal moment of the arc as far as like getting the win over Cell.
And the overall score after the loss is a 4.69. His next opponent is again Super Perfect Cell, but he fought him alongside Gohan, Goku, I guess, Piccolo.
Okay, so he is counting this separately. I would have just made it all one thing, but I can see where he's counting it separately if he gives it the same justice as he did the Goku thing, right?
Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin. Aside from Gohan, Vegeta played the biggest role in defeating Cell. Once again, he banged him with a nasty ki blast. Bro, look at the Bambi legs. Cell's gotta hate this dude at this point. He's gonna be having nightmares about Vegeta's ki blast at hell. That's 3 times now he's clipped him and embarrassed him in his perfect form. And I'm dropping the score down by a 1.5 because without Gohan, this was not possible. Vegeta gets an overall score of 7.25 for this win.
Now, hold up. What did he give Goku for this? This is where the unfairness is gonna kick in, and like people are gonna get mad at you in the comments. By the way. Where's it at? It's like right here somewhere. Yeah. What did he
Convincing
give
you
Goku?
again, I'm not mad at you, but his score for this fight, just because he played such a pivotal role, I'm gonna give him a 5 for
That's where people are gonna get mad. Now you did adjust the number.
performance.
wanna make
and
that
I'm dropping it
context
by
clear.
2.5 because he had an unbelievable amount of. You know what, bro? I'm gonna drop it down by 3, bro, because he had an unbelievable amount of help for this fight.
Okay, so he gave him a 2.0 and Vegeta got a 3.5. I think that's
All right,
fair.
guys, let's move back over to Goku. Goku's first opponent in the Buu saga is Yakon. Which, by the way, I guess kind
Yakon.
of really late in the video for me to mention this, but I'm not counting filler-only fights, which kind of
Fucking W. Fucking W. Because the filler did not include anything relevant.
sucks because I did want to rank the PyCon win for Goku, but it opens up too big a can of worms and it's just going to dilute the stats too much with wins
Right.
against Squirtle, 4-foot bald dude with a beard, Caterpillar, and other
Yeah, literally fucking Black Krillin. Black old Krillin.
tomato cans are just going to hurt his record, so it's just best to keep the
True.
Otherworld saga out of the records fully. But yeah, anyways, Yakon was decent, man. He wasn't a complete can like Babidi's other soldiers, aside from Dabura. I give him a 5. Goku had a good performance, had a very impressive finish at the end of the fight. I'm going to give him an 8 for his performance, though. He could have made it a little bit cleaner, and Yakon was giving him good resistance before he murked him with Super Saiyan 2, so I feel like 8 sounds right to me. Goku's going to get overall score of 6.5 for this win. His next fight was against Majin Vegeta, my favorite fight in the series. Check out the
This is where the controversy is really about to start. How do you count this? Is it a draw? Is it a Vegeta win? Is it a Goku win? Who knows?
breakdown I made for it if you haven't already. Vegeta was an absolute beast of a fighter and a powerhouse, but definitely at least a notch below the elite in this arc. I'm gonna give bro an 8.5. I think that's pretty on point for him actually. Because remember, this arc, the max score goes up to 11.5. Goku had a great showing in this fight, but Vegeta was just a step ahead, man, especially early on. Goku rallied back in the championship rounds, but it wasn't enough. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 for this one because this was still very good and one of the highest scores you'll get for, still losing a fight. Of course, as we all know, Goku was sandbagging heavy by not using Super Saiyan 3 at the start.
Yeah, that fucking bitch.
So I'm going to use the context adjuster and give him a +2 for his performance. I feel like that's a good compromise. Or his average score is an 8.75. And with the loss, it drops down to a 5.86.
He counted it as a loss. Now, see, this is where me and him differ a little bit. I would have counted it a no contest. Not a draw, not a win, not a loss. It's a no contest. Because in the context of the show, they completely agree to stop fighting. It is a 100% the end of the fight before the moment where Vegeta sucker punches the absolute fuck out of him and then takes a senzu bean and runs.
Next opponent is Majin Buu. And Majin Buu, bro, Fat Buu was a solid 10.5. He's definitely elite in this arc, but he ain't cracking 11 because he's the weakest form of Buu. As for Goku's performance,
Fair.
Goku was teeing off on Buu in this fight and
Oh, Super Saiyan 3 Goku was fucking him up.
looked super impressive, but his
It was
stamina drain
hilarious.
was bad, and he didn't fully put his foot on the gas like he does eventually in the Kid Buu fight. Goku won this fight, but there was a big question mark to his win because if it had gone on, we don't know for sure who would have won. Even though I think it still would have been Goku, I'm gonna give him a 6 for performance.
I think obviously from a writing standpoint, you could say Goku for sure, but from a narrative standpoint, if they really wanted to continue the arc, then Boo would have had to won, which would have been just a match between like stamina versus durability. And I really think that Boo's durability is just ridiculous. I mean, it's insane. I mean, we're talking about fucking in his Kid Buu form, he walked back a Super Saiyan fucking spirit bomb before it finally overtook him. Like, it was insane. Like, he was incredible.
Not his best win, but still solid, which brings his overall score for this fight to an 8.25. Goku's next opponent is going to be Kid Buu, and this is I'm splitting the Kid Buu fight up into 2 separate fights because he first had a 1v1, then he had to take a break, and then obviously it was the gauntlet match, right? But yeah, I'm going to give Kid Buu an 11. It's a rare case in DBZ where the final villain actually isn't the strongest villain, so I can't give him the max score, but sipping on that green tea, man. That green tea. Goku's doing really well in this fight while he lasted, but he had to forfeit to take that minute break to gather energy. And by the way, that minute wouldn't have even helped him because he actually burned out while trying to gather ki. If he didn't have Vegeta to, tag in for him and he had to keep fighting, he'd have gotten destroyed in that minute. Kind of like against Perfect Cell, Goku's PR team kept them from getting embarrassed in this fight. I'm giving him a 6.5 for performance, and honestly that might be me being generous, which brings his average score to an 8.75, and of course he lost this fight, so he gets a 5.86. Next and final fight for Goku on this list is again versus Kid Buu, but this time it's with the help of Vegeta, Fat Buu, Hercule, Earth, New Namek, the human race, the Namekian
Bro, this shit's like a 1 for everyone involved.
race, bro, everybody. I feel like I might have helped. Kid Buu, of course, gets an 11 for score. Goku, I'm giving him an 8 for his performance, just because the Spirit Bomb was legendary. Granted, he wouldn't have been able to finish it off without the help of everybody, and even
Bro, you can't give him a good score for that, brother. A move that requires the participation of everything ever all the time is not something that you can give credit to Goku for. And this it's no different with Vegeta, right? Like, if Vegeta pulled the same fucking move, then what are we even doing?
then he still needed the wish that restored his power. So I'm gonna drop his performance down by 3 points for obvious
That's fucking generous. Holy shit.
reasons. So he gets a 5 for his weighted score for performance. Overall score of 8 for this win. Solid win still. Goku's record in the Buu saga was 3 wins and 2 losses. Finally, we're gonna take a look at Vegeta's record in the Buu saga. Starting with his first opponent, Pui Pui. Look, bro. Pui Pui was a bin man, tomato can, waste man bum. He was trash, bro. I'm giving him a 2.5 for level, and that's me being generous. My bad. Looks like I got my notes here. Looks like I adjusted him to a 2. Yeah, I dropped him down to a 2. Okay. Dude, he's a bum. He deserves the 2. Alright. Vegeta completely styled on him and
Bro was literally Kui of this arc.
finished him with ease. Flawless performance. He gets the 10, and his score for this win is a 6. Vegeta's next opponent is Goku, and listen, Goku is him. I'm giving him a level of 10.5 for this arc. Same tier as Fat Buu. Definitely below Kid Buu though. I can't believe how many people think that Goku would beat Kid Buu. Hell no. He ain't beating Kid Buu. Goku's a 10.5 for level, but we're gonna obviously use the context adjuster and drop him down by 2 points, down to an 8.5, because obviously my man was sandbagging. He stayed in Super Saiyan 2 for the whole fight, and 8.5 is his level as a Super Saiyan 2, which is the same level that I gave for Vegeta, so it makes sense. For performance though, listen, to me it was a legendary performance for Vegeta because he was going up against, if not the very best, then at least the top 3 pound for pound fighter of the all of the series. You feel me? He landed more shots than Goku, caught him off guard with a lot of traps, just outfought him, period. Pound for pound, nobody's doing this well against Goku on an even playing field. So I'm going to give Vegeta a 9 for his performance, even though it was a very hard fought battle. But I'm going to adjust it by dropping him down a point because of the cheap shot at the end of the fight. So it brings him down to an 8. Vegeta gets an overall score of 8.25 for his win against Goku. His next opponent is Majin Buu, who we established before is a 10.5. And I mean, Vegeta did as well as he possibly could. He gave a good account of himself, but he just couldn't handle the power difference. It was straight up impossible for him to win here. For performance, I'm giving him a 4, bringing him to an average of 7.25. And with the loss, it's going to bring him down to an overall score of 4.86 for the fight against Fat Buu. Next opponent is Kid Buu.
Okay, so he didn't factor in Final Atonement at all? Interesting. That's also going to be controversial. See, me, I would have factored it in because it was part of the fight. It was part of the fight. Now, just because there was an intermission doesn't mean the fight wasn't still going, right? There was an intermission, right? Obviously, with the two fucking little children showing up and Piccolo and this and that and the other, right? But up to that point, like Vegeta had hit him with a blow strong enough, to buy him that amount of time for that interaction to happen. So I think that you could award him that as part of the fight. In factoring in Final Atonement, I think it would have jumped up his performance massively here. Let's see. So I would have jumped his performance up to 7. Would have jumped his performance up to 7, still giving him the loss, obviously. But,
or bringing him to
I think you have to figure that in.
an average of 7.25, and with the loss, it's going to bring him down to an overall score of 4.86 for the fight against Fat Boo. Next opponent is Kid Buu, who was a score of 11, and same thing here as the Fat Buu matchup. He did as well as he could, and he showed his toughness, lasting a whole minute getting cooked by Buu. Goku didn't think he could do it. He had less to offer here though than he did against Fat Buu, so I'm going to give him a 3. Let's get an average out to 7, and with the loss, it brings him down to a 4.69 for this score. And the final fight is again against Kid Buu, who's an 11. Again, it's Vegeta with the help of Goku and everybody. Now that I think about it, he played the role here that Goku played in a lot of the group fights. This time he was the coach, the hype man, the idea guy. He did fight, he was stalling Buu, but he was getting fried. Overall though, he was definitely clutch in this gauntlet match, so I'm going to give him a 4.5 for performance, even though he didn't physically do much. We're dropping this performance score down by 3 points, just like we did with Goku, so bringing his performance down to a 1.5. The overall score for this win being 6.25. Vegeta had the same record as Goku.
I think it's a bit harsh. I think I probably would have left it at like a 2.5. I think a 2.5 is a bit more fair, considering he did do some physical fucking interaction with Kid Buu. Whereas like Goku's like coach moment was him literally dead, doing absolutely nothing.
Actually in the saga, 3 wins and 2 losses. Alright guys, we're done. So let's take a look at some of these stats and just yap a little bit. Like I haven't been yapping for I don't even know how long at this point. So I
hour 55 minutes for me.
got Goku's record as 10 wins, 9 losses, and 1 draw. His overall point value, the sum is 125.14, with his average point value per fight being 6.26. And for Vegeta, his overall record is 12 wins and 11 losses. The sum of his points is 138.33, so higher than Goku's, but he had a couple more fights. When you look at his average point value per fight, it's a little bit lower than Goku's at 6.01. Goku's average opponent level is 8.63, and his opponent's average adjusted point level is 9.03. Vegeta's opponents are on average a little bit weaker, 8.26 average level, 8.52 average adjusted level. But yeah, dude, so you see, like, the thing is, these guys have a high average level opponent, and that's why they're racking up a lot of losses. For Goku, I'm gonna put his top 5 wins on the screen here. So I got Frieza, then Nappa, and then Burter and Jace, Majin Buu, and Kid Buu. Those were the top wins that earned him the most points. And for Vegeta, it was Semi-Perfect Cell, and then Goku in the Saiyan Saga, Goku in the Buu Saga again, so he's 2-0 against Goku, we all know this. Android 19, and Super Perfect Cell,
3-0. Thank you, Dragon Ball Super.
During the gauntlet match. In the end, who had the best resume? It was Goku, man. Goku had the best resume. He fought on average the better opponents, and he scored on average more points.
I think it's fair. I think some of the numbers were adjusted incorrectly, and some aspects of fights weren't factored in, but you can't expect perfection, right? But overall, I can agree that Goku is the overall better fighter. Well, actually not the overall better fighter, but the overall better record. I'll say that.
Both times that Goku fought Vegeta in Z, Vegeta won, but Goku had the better career. But I bet some of you are surprised to see that it's not by that much though. They both have 1 more win than they do losses, and they both have almost the same amount of fights. I mean, come on. Do you see now why I respect both of these guys' body of work so much? Like I'm not some
True.
I'm not some fence sitter. It is what it is. Vegeta had a fire record. The only thing is though, you know what really separated Vegeta and Goku's record though? It's that one big win against Frieza. Put that stamp on Goku's career.
Man, that did not age well, huh? Fuck you, Dragon Ball Super. Fuck you for taking that away from us, you fucking cunt. We never got that, dude. It's so disappointing. To think that, like, in the end, we never got that. That's insane. I don't know who the writing guy was for fucking Resurrection F, but I really hope that the Dragon Ball Company fired his ass. Like, what the absolute dog shit writing was that? One, the temporal do-over thing was just fucking stupid to begin with. Two, Goku finishing him off with a Kamehameha to learn some stupid lesson about, oh, maybe not fucking taking it easy on your opponents, blah, 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 blah. Rather than accentuating the fact that Vegeta and Goku are different, and Vegeta taking that role away from Goku, where he does kind of fit that, like, no nonsense, absolutely blow him out of the water before he has a chance to do damage type thing. If they would have played on that a lot more in the series, it would have felt so much more alive, right? Because they did kind of play on that a little bit, but they didn't take it to a level that made it serious, where you could take Vegeta's character and Goku's character much more seriously than you would have in Dragon Ball Z. Whereas like Dragon Ball Super, for example, perfect example of this is the fucking Goku Black arc, where Vegeta was the much more like dialed in, like we have to kill him now before he becomes a threat issue. He was that guy in that arc, right? He knew that he could take out Goku Black because Goku Black, although he was a problem, given the time that he was given, he was like, yes, I can take him out. And then he is no longer a threat because Zamasu was technically the threat because he was the immortal being that you could not get rid of, right? And it seemed that Vegeta also in the Tournament of Power was also the more like dialed in, like I'm just throwing people out fighter. He was eliminating people left and right. And he also had several moments where he was coaching Goku to get back into the fucking game when Goku was at his worst, looking like he was about to just give it all away because he didn't have any fight left, this and that and the other.